Hello, Twitch.
Hi and hello, classmates. Welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class Gab Chatter Edition for Saturday, August 26th, 2023. I'm your host for today, Tyler.
I'm Peter.
No Joseph today. We'll settle that hash soon. On this episode, streaming exclusives are getting physical. The Hollywood strike continues, so you know what that means. And a voicemail from the class. Plus, fun facts from Tyler's favorite movie and tales of loss and gain from the set of Batman Begins.
Oh, wonderful.
All right, so
I like your slow, deliberate intro. It's good. It's relaxing.
Okay, well, yeah.
Ever since I made the intro music on the board, as long as we want, it's the full song now.
Yeah,
we don't have a heart out at the end of the intro.
Sure. Anyways, where's Joseph? Where's Joseph at?
He's celebrating Josephat.
It's his day of birth, so I hope every classmate within the sound of my voice celebrates his birth because he deserves it. He deserves it.
Yeah, he decided to take a day off of the show, which is totally fine.
Yeah, he took a personal day.
Yeah, exactly.
We all get 3 personal days.
3 paid personal days a year. But I'm here. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay. You know, it's been a hard week. Thankfully, August has been very temperament.
Oh yeah.
And so I've been not super
you haven't been
tired.
You haven't been attacked by any children or dogs or customers yet?
Well, I was attacked by a small dog recently, but I won't get into that.
Hey, where are we streaming today?
Well, we're in the Beta Studios right now, and we're also streaming on Twitch TV, which you can find the link in the show notes once this releases on Monday.
Yeah, if you're a podcaster and you're listening to this and you have not been on the Twitch stream, go to the show notes. There's a video on demand of this recording. And we do the shows back to back. We do Gab and Chatter and the review back to back. So
yeah,
for those listening, which is Bruce in the chat.
Bruce is in the chat.
Bruce is in the chat. Yeah, that's right.
All the way from Alabama. Insertion of Bruce Perkyisms.
Yeah, Bruce, one of the real ones. Hey, Bruce, if you're listening in the chat, have you watched Memoria yet? I'm gonna say probably not, because he would have messaged me and said,
he's like, no,
fuck you.
No.
Yeah, but we're on Twitch through Stab Comedy. Thank you, Stab Comedy. We have Milk in the Wings listening as we speak, just to make sure we don't break any terms of service.
Yes. Thank you, Milk, for being our overlord for this time. I mean, like, you know, we're the second most listened show on Twitch.
Tyler has no idea where the Tyler's getting these numbers.
But don't worry about it. I'm in the know. I'm in the know.
You're in the know.
Yeah, well, you know, that's going to be cut out soon. But right. Let's get into some Gab and Chatter.
Find some charity, you lad. Now's the time for Gab and Chatter.
So Gab and Chatter, this is for any new listeners who are joining us today. This is where we talk about movie news, movie discussions, what have you. Pete, what do you have for us today?
All right. So for a couple of news stories that I have, number one, there's a big upswell. I guess that's what you'd call it. Upswell and uprising, uproar from physical media collectors all over the world they're starting to see the deletion, the removal of streaming services, taking physical media options away from us consumers.
Yes.
So there's already in Australia, there's talks about Disney stopping all digital, or not digital, all physical releases, no Blu-ray releases of any of their media in Australia. I think Malaysia is going 100% digital. Like the government is mandating that there's no
Wait, the
Physical
government is mandating it?
Oh, Malaysia's government does not play around. They do not play. The 1975 played a concert there, and they caused a fucking revolution. Like for real, they had to shut down public streets and stuff like that. It was crazy. But there is good news on the front because Prey, the sequel to Predator that came out last year, starring Amber Midthunder,
Oh yes,
the 1700s Native American, was it Comanche?
yes.
I think it's Comanche.
Yeah, it was. Yes, it was
The Comanche tribe who face off. There's a small group of them that face off against the proto predator, the pre-technology predator. It doesn't have the laser gun. They're darts instead.
Yeah, it was described to as when I did like the research. It was described to me that it was like a prepubescent sort of predator.
Yeah, I think that's what happens there's when the creatures, I can't remember, there actually is a name for them. They're not just called predators. I can't remember what they're called, but the creatures go to various planets to it's like a rite of passage, I think, or something.
Yes.
So
yes.
Anyways, we're all kind of gobsmacked by how good Prey was, and
yeah,
some people calling it the best Predator movie of the entire franchise. Many calling it the second best, past the original.
Yeah, I would say
I think I'm probably in that camp.
The first Predator, great.
Yeah.
Prey, the second best. But it's so hard though because it's really hard to rate. So good. It's so good.
It's very good. So yeah, old Mitch Burns, our old pal from the Hollywood Persona and the Film Vaulters, says that it's his favorite Predator movie of all time, and I've seen that from a few people. And a lot of people were lamenting that it never got a theater release. It would have been a great movie in theaters.
It would have been.
And that it'll probably not get a physical media release. And it turned out that is not the case because we are getting Prey coming to 4K and Blu-ray October 3rd of this year. Yes. So we only have about a month and a half left until we should be able to go down to our local Five and Dime, Best Buy, something like that. So, and the special features that are going to be released on the disc, and this is from bloodydisgusting.com, says that there's going to be the making of Prey, which is a step behind the scenes of Prey, as the cast and crew explore the genesis of the project and how they gave authenticity to the story, the intense physical training the cast endured, and the effect work that brought the iconic Predator back to the screen.
It seemed like there was like a lot of research done with this movie. And I think that's what made the movie so great. They
have tribesmen, real deal people who can speak Comanche on set, translating and rewriting scenes and things so that they could.
And if I'm not mistaken, there is also like a version where you can watch the movie in Comanche, like with in subtitles, but it would be they were speaking Comanche.
It's very good. Yeah, it's very good. So there's also a number of deleted scenes, alternative opening scene, the Prey. There's like a cast and crew Q&A panel that was done live somewhere that they videotape, put that on, and then also an audio commentary with Dan Trachtenberg, the director, Amber Midthunder, the lead, and Jeff Cutter and Angela Kentazaro. Don't know who they are. But all kinds of good special features, and it's like a 4K steelbook and then a Blu-ray option as well.
Oh, it's a steelbook. Wow.
I think you can get either one. I think you can get the regular one and the steelbook. And steelbooks are like interesting because they feel so different, and they're a little bit more expensive, but it's like, I don't know, it's a weird gimmick. It's like alternative art on the case that's printed directly onto the very thin gauge steel case. And I remember seeing them a long time ago when they kind of first came around, and I'm like, this is really interesting, and I never thought anything about it. Now I freaking love them.
Yeah,
it feels like it's almost like buying
like a collector's edition.
Yeah, it's like buying a collector's edition without actually having to buy, spend $50 on a collector's whatever. So that's really good. You think you don't really collect physical media, right?
I mean, not really. I don't have the scoots that you have, but I at one point would like to do that.
Well, I didn't for a long time, and I just happen to have a spot in the house, which is good for storing physical media. And lately,
for any new listeners out there, Pete has made a room for retro physical media, which is incredible.
Mainly VHSs.
it's something that you would die for. Like, it's awesome.
Yes, it's fun to do. It's fun to sit in there and watch VHS tapes on the original CRT TV with the old school.
Oh my god, it's so
toddler. It's
awesome!
very
It's so
fun.
awesome. You were playing it so.
But the funny thing is, like, I don't want a DVD anymore. I don't even want to like watch DVDs anymore because it's like I either want the ultra low shit grade like the VHS or a 4K. I don't
Because
want
that's how they were supposed to be watched.
Yeah. So, anyways, so Prey is coming to 4K, and I've heard that there's other stuff too that's coming to 4K. Stuff that I don't care nearly as much about, like the Marvel shows on Disney Plus are getting physical
Oh,
releases.
really?
Yeah, like the Scarlet Witch or something, or WandaVision.
Oh, WandaVision. Yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
I'm not
yes,
really
yes, yes,
sure,
yes.
but I saw some stuff about that. It's like, oh, that's cool. Good for them. Good for the people
No.
that really want that, because I feel like that's something that people seem to get really excited about.
Well, I've heard really great things about. At least WandaVision, I've heard really great things about. I haven't checked it out myself, but like
Yeah.
I'm sure like it's good.
Yeah,
I guess.
I don't have time.
Yeah,
Time to get into all
I
that.
don't really give a
Yeah.
good goddamn about it.
So thank you, Bloody Disgusting, for breaking that story, and for Dan Trachtenberg and the rest of the people involved with that project for pushing to get to physical media. And I have a feeling
Yes.
it probably has something to do with, the groundswell. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Groundswell from the public about that. So
yeah.
okay. So, and then for my next story, the WGA SAG-AFTRA strike is still on, and it is still expected to go until at least October, possibly more.
Yes. Yeah.
And what that means for us is that projects are going to be canceled and pushed back. Well, not canceled necessarily, probably
Just
canceled,
push back.
but a lot of them pushed back. So
I you know what? It infuriates me
Mhm.
because it's so I will put a specific show that I love.
Okay.
And that is The Bear.
Okay.
I love The Bear. And the fact of the matter is that that's going to be pushed back farther along. Like I'm gonna be like 32 or 33 by the time that the new season comes out. It's like wait,
That's life, baby.
like Jesus goddamn Christ. Like
I thought I didn't know you were a scab, Tyler. I didn't know you were a scab.
What does that even mean? I don't even know what that means.
You don't know what a scab is?
No, please illuminate me.
A scab is a person that crosses the picket line.
I'm not. No, that's not true at
You're
all.
like,
I support.
I don't care about the strike. Give me more bear.
No, I support the strike completely, but at the same time, like these executives.
I don't know what to say.
But these executives who are like resting on their millions of dollars, and they're just like, well, we can wait them out. It's like, well, then you're not going to have more material. Like what's going to happen to the entertainment industry? You know, nothing.
See, when there's no new shows, I'm just going to lean on my physical media catalog.
Well, I'm just going to go back to the Golden Girls.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Cheers.
Yes.
Whatever.
So the big
Night
title,
Court.
the big title that's really crushing my soul about being pushed back is Dune Part 2. Has officially been announced. It's been delayed to 2024,
Yep.
which means that the Marvels has more time to be in IMAX theaters, and everyone can not go see that movie.
Yeah. Dune being
March 15th.
I was really confused about Dune being pushed back because I was under the impression that it was already completed. Like, was it a completed movie?
So that's an interesting thing to bring up. Thank you, Tyler. There are rules about the strike. You cannot promote anything that has a written script.
Okay.
So if you are part of the WGA or SAG-AFTRA, you cannot go on promotional tours. So how much of money is spent and how much time is spent on these big budget movies having the big stars go to panel interviews and radio shows and call-ins and red carpet walks, all that shit. It's none of that's available. So Bruce says we'll always have Memoria. We can always watch that. god awful money. Um, but so the studios are, I think they're worried that if they don't have that advertising out and they don't have all that extra promotion,
They're not gonna
they're not going to make their nut back. They have all this money invested into this.
nut.
Yeah, the nuts that's just how much you've invested into something, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
They're not going to get their nut back, and they're worried. I don't think that that would happen with Dune. I think enough people know
A lot
about
of people
the movie.
were looking forward to it.
Fuck yeah! I mean, I don't know. Milk made a great assessment. They said the talent can't even be on middle class film class during the strike. They can technically, but they can't talk about their projects. We can just talk about other things.
We're gonna get Chalamet
Javier
on here.
Bardem. Javier Bardem. I know you're listening.
We're gonna get Chalamet on here.
Speaking French to us. I won't allow it. I will not allow it.
So, do you think Army Hammer was actually a cannibal?
I know. Did he ever eat you?
Did he take a bite at you? Did he?
Did he say, "Give me some of that peach"?
So because of the parameters of the strike, they can't. Like
they can't. Promote anything.
They can't promote them.
Can't promote anything. Yeah,
that's
not even stuff that's already come out.
I'm with it. Like, I agree with it, but at the same time, though, it's so hard to accept it because
they're fighting for their right to party. I mean, to get paid. They're fighting for the right to not get replaced by AI.
I just don't think AI is gonna replace anything.
Oh, you have little faith. You have
don't.
little faith in computers.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe
the
so.
Singularity is upon us.
I think maybe that, like, I might be like a boomer in some sort of way.
Okay, boomer.
Like when
maybe you are a boomer. Producer chatbot is knows what's up.
Maybe so. Yeah.
So the couple things that I wanted to just to top kind of finish off this story. The date move looks like it's going to be moved back to March 15th, which should affect also Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, which was originally slated for the day before that release, March 14th. It's getting pushed back 1 month to April 12th, and it's also supposedly going to affect potentially The Equalizer 3, Wonka, and The Marvels, which are both all scheduled around that same time. So,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's just the one that I was looking forward to. This is just the beginning until the strike is formally called off and there's been
resolved.
An agreement made. Yeah, until there's been an agreement made, then it's just going to be what it is.
I mean,
just Memoria and the Golden Girls. That's it.
Yeah,
that's all we got.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So those are my two stories, and then very briefly, I have a voicemail that I wanted to read or listen to. I guess just play on the show. That was from one of our old pals who has not called into the show, but we talk about him quite often, Joe Bridges. So let's hear from Joe. Let's see what Joe has to say.
Hello, this is Joe Bridges calling, and since we always have to listen to Tyler's great Danzig readings, I figured I would just call in for a random reading that also doesn't really fit with anything. It's called "I'm Being Asked Who He Is" by Shigeyoshi Obata. It's a poem that says, "I call myself the Green Lotus Man. I am a spirit exiled from the upper blue. For 30 years I've hid my fame in wine shops. Warrior of Lake Province, why must you ask about me? Behold me, a reincarnation of the Buddha of the Golden Grain." Just wanted to read that since we have to listen about Danzig all the time. Why not get cultured in another way through Chinese poetry? Thank you. If you want to hear more from me, please let me know. I'll be glad to oblige.
I don't even know what to think about that.
Yes, that was great. That was beautiful.
That was beautiful.
I have a feeling
will
that,
say that.
I have a feeling there's going to be a few drops that are going to come from that voicemail.
That was beautiful. We always have to listen to Danzig.
A non sequitur of Danzig. So it's a non sequitur for Chinese poetry. I love it. I love it. Thanks, Joe.
Oh man, that was great. That was great. That was great.
he
I
almost
love
said-
everyone calling into the show. That's awesome.
He almost said he was a reincarnation of Buddha, the Golden Girl. But it was the Golden God. A different TV show that you love.
yes. Oh God. Yeah.
That was wonderful, Joe. Thank you for that. And yes, more Chinese poetry. If you can make it in any way Danzig related, or if there's any poems that say "do better" in them somewhere, that would be great. So
I don't need the vague statements of "do better." Like I don't know anything about film.
Okay, I get it, Tyler. Do you have any? I'm all done.
Okay, so let's move on to Joseph's movie news. Oh wait, I forgot he's not here. Also, he couldn't give a good goddamn to call into the show, and actually,
There was no need. It was unnecessary.
actually, before I get on to
How
my
dare you shame him?
Fucking
my
liberals.
movie stories.
Okay.
I messaged him and I asked him if he wanted to call in. So
Is Joseph?
I'm going to read a message that he said.
Okay.
He said, "I don't even want to think about this show on my day of birth." Okay.
Oh yes, he did say that. Yeah.
So I don't know where, like, does he not want to be on the show anymore?
No,
like,
I want you to see you fuck.
like does he not want to be on the show anymore? Is it gonna it's you know what? It's you and me, Pete. It's us.
It's his day off. Leave him alone. This is the day he came to this planet some 31 years ago.
Swimming from his mother's loins.
That's right. He burst onto the scene.
And now he's probably making vigorous and wild love
That didn't make sense.
to his to his
All
to his
right,
wife.
all right.
But anyways, so this comes from Collider.com. I'm going to be talking about Christian Bale's weight was an issue during Batman Begins. So before he started filming Batman Begins, he was in The Machinist,
Mhm.
and it's famous to everyone who's interested in film that he like lost a ton of weight.
He was like 76 pounds or something like that.
No, he was 129.
No, when he was filming The Machinist.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was like 129 pounds.
I think it was lighter than
It was not that light.
Okay.
He would have been in the hospital if
He should
was
have been in the
70.
hospital.
Well, yeah, because like the filmmakers of the the Machinist were concerned. They're like, what the hell
Okay.
are you doing, Christian Bale?
All right,
Like,
I was wrong. It wasn't 76 pounds. That's the Eugenia Cooney. She's a YouTuber that
Oh, that's
really,
right.
really needs help.
yeah.
It says here that he dropped down to his lowest weight of 110 pounds.
Oh, 110.
And he's
okay.
like 6'2" or something like that. Like he's maybe not 6'2".
yeah,
He's tall.
he's pretty tall. So like
Jesus
he
Christ.
lived on a can of like tuna and like an apple.
Oh,
and
he
then
lost 63 pounds for the role. That's what it was.
and then he started then he started burning nails and like drinking coffee and stuff like that to keep the weight off. And then he also like he started drinking scotch. And then he gained the weight back to get to Batman Begins, and so he started bulking up. He started like he did what like Jared Leto did. He was like drinking like melted like ice cream,
Just liquid ice cream.
like he was just like chugging it. And so Christopher Nolan, he oh, hold on a second here.
Yeah, he I'm sure he had to. He probably was still trying to put the weight on.
Well, yeah. So he was trying to put the weight on, and I think what Christopher Nolan saw in uh what he saw in
Christian Bale.
Bale is that because of his physique in American Psycho,
Mhm.
he was like, well, like he can do this.
Mhm.
And a lot of his team was really concerned because of his like rapid like weight loss and weight gain and stuff
think
like that.
in
Because it's really hard on your heart.
I think in hindsight, looking back at it, it's easy for us to go, wow, that's crazy. Okay, moving on. But in the moment, not knowing that this person might actually be a like legitimate health threat to himself by losing so much weight and then gaining it and then losing it again.
Yeah. And also the Dark Knight trilogy was also a like miraculous because Christopher Nolan at that point had only produced Memento and Insomnia at that point.
And following.
Oh yeah, and Following too. But like Memento and
No, following the first one, not the sequel to Following.
oh. But like he wasn't as prolific as at that time when Batman Begins came out.
Mhm.
And so it was really shaky ground, and it was kind of like the perfect time for him, Christopher Nolan.
When Nolan took that role or took that job on of Batman Begins and this rumored trilogy that was going to happen, I remember when it happened, I'm thinking, that's an interesting person to direct a Batman movie. Like
Right.
the stuff he'd done before that had it really didn't feel whatsoever like it. And it gives me, I always think of that when I'm thinking, why are we giving this to Andy Muschietti, The Flash to Andy Muschietti or something like that?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But I like Muschietti stuff, so maybe The Flash is going to be good. It's not. I don't. I'm going to be watching that probably this weekend because it just hit Max. But anyways, continue.
So it's kind of it. I don't want to say like it was a train wreck, but it was more so like it was the perfect idea at the time that it was executed, because it was at a time where people wanted a new Batman film. And I feel like just based on being in the internet, everyone wanted like a grounded Batman film.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have Christian Bale. He just came off of The Machinist, and he had to bulk up. So, he's like chugging gallons of ice cream and whatever to like bulk up, and he's working out, like he's doing his American Psycho workout. And then we get Batman Begins, which it was great. It was great. And then we get The Dark Knight, which is even better. And a lot of people.
What's the story about his weight though? Just that they're worried about him not being able to gain it fast enough.
Well, like the story is that he like his team and like the producers of like the Batman trilogy were worried about him because he had lost so much weight and then he gained so much weight. Like it's kind of like are you familiar with the story of Mac from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where like he like gained like a bunch of weight because like that weight he has
fat Mac, and then he got buff Mac.
Yeah, so like that was real.
I know. Yeah,
and
it was interesting to see him. He sent a tweet out after people were commenting on how great his physique was, and he's like, "See, everybody, this just shows how anybody can get in this sort of shape. All you need is a personal trainer, a personal chef, quit your job, work out 6 days a week because you're getting paid for it, and literally don't enjoy any food that you eat.
Yes,
for 9 months straight, and you can look just like this. And
but that takes so much, it's so hard to do that. It's so hard to do that. So, like the fact that like Christian Bale was able to like have
props for
like
him, for sure. He went from ultra fit in American Psycho in 2000 And then
Yes.
in Reign of Fire, he just seemed like a normal guy. O2, Equilibrium, O2, pretty
Yes.
pretty fit.
Yeah.
And then
pretty
the
fit.
Machinist in 04 took him 2 years to lose that.
It's I couldn't even imagine doing that.
Then he went in the same from 1 year later, from 04 to 05. He did Harsh Times and Batman Begins. So and The New World also.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Forgot
yeah.
he's in there. I still got to see that movie.
It's so really what this news story is that I'm commenting on, like the dedication of Christian Bale, like just like harming his body, because like that's not good on your heart, like, or your internal organs, like to like go like the fluctuations of like your weight.
But which is worse, to gain the weight and then lose it back in extreme ways, or to gain the weight and keep it there forever?
Well, I don't know, because like if you remember in Vice, he gained like 220 pounds.
I don't think it was that much.
Well,
He might have been up to 220,
yeah. Okay, yeah.
which as somebody who's very close to that weight is not
yeah, he went up
reassuring.
to 220.
So,
But
anyways,
so I just wanted to comment on that. And then my next news story comes from slashfilm.com, which is a popular site for film news. This is regarding my favorite film that I watch nearly on a weekly basis.
it's not
The
true.
Lighthouse.
Not true.
That is, well, that's,
It's a bit.
yeah, maybe it's
You
that.
just said you don't have physical media to watch it.
Well,
just rent it every time?
I don't rent it. I own it. I own it. Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse comes from a terrifying true story. So I didn't know this. Like, I feel like this came from a true story, but
We talked about this when we reviewed The Lighthouse.
well, I don't remember that.
I like how your news stories are one about a movie that we've recovered on the show, and it's a 4-year-old movie. And another one's a, what is that, 20-year-old movie or something like that. Breaking news. Hold on a second. We got breaking news here. The Lighthouse based on a true story.
Find
Come
some
on.
turkey, you lad.
Extra, extra.
extra.
That's right.
So I didn't really know about the true story about what The Lighthouse was based off of. So really, like, the idea is of this news story, it's kind of like a discussion, because it kind of pontificates on Robert Eggers. He's like a stickler for historical accuracy. And that's what I appreciate about him too. And I like got into discussion with someone on Reddit about the Viking, or
The
no,
Northman?
not the Viking, the Northman.
Okay.
And there is a discussion about how The Northman is a really good movie, but it doesn't appeal to general audiences because of how historically accurate it is. And so
I'm sure Robert Eggers read that headline and was like, good.
Well, yes,
exactly.
yes, exactly.
Exactly.
And so
who gives a fuck?
Well, so I was thinking about this. I was like, yeah, no, like The Northman's really good. Like, it has like really cool action sequences, but it won't attract a general audience because of how historical accurate it is. And regarding The Lighthouse, it's based off of two lighthouse keepers.
Yeah. It's their logs, their diary entries.
Right. Yes. And it's based off so one of the lighthouse keepers dies, and the other lighthouse keeper, like, instead of burying him, keeps him alive.
Okay.
Like sets him up in like a chair and stuff like that, and like he goes like crazy, and like he starts talking to him, and like it, like, as if he's alive.
It's like Swiss Army Man.
Yeah, it's the story. Well, I guess so, except less farting.
Yes. That we know of.
Well,
There's quite
yeah,
a bit of
man.
farting in the lighthouse.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of gaseous sort of scenarios going on there. But it's the story of the Smalls Lighthouse. Might not feature howling mermaids or hostile seagulls, but it centers around two men sharing a lighthouse quarter and the tragic circumstances that befell the duo stranded on the Pembrokeshire's battered rocks. Which I'm assuming is probably like in like New England area,
Maine,
something
probably.
like around the Atlantic Sea, I would assume. But I thought it was interesting because, well, just because I think when I watched The Lighthouse, like it seems like a standalone story. Like I could see how it could be based on like a true story, but
Mhm.
like what I think Robert Eggers does, like he makes that true story into his own.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, the story is being told from a lighthouse keeper's logs, which is telling a very interesting story about what may have happened to them on this rock, and
Right.
he's probably not considered a reliable narrator. So he definitely took that story to a different places.
yes,
The way that he wrote the story.
yes, and I like your idea of the unreliable narrator part, like because that's really what is the case, and that's what I really like about this movie is that it really like represents like insanity of isolation, and it's a bit fantastical, obviously, but I think I mean I had no idea that it was actually based off of a real like a real situation that actually happened, and like the real situation
Does that make it more scary or less scary to you?
I think it makes it more scary because this guy like his partner died.
Mhm.
And then like instead of burying him and giving him a burial,
You're
like
fond of me lobster.
he like propped him up like on a chair and like was still like talking to him and stuff like that. Like that's that like
I be matey. You may have left this mortal coil, but you shall be my best friend here, see?
You're drunk.
So I mean, those are kind of some weak news stories, but those are my news stories.
It's okay. It's still fun.
Yeah.
Hear you talk about your favorite movie.
Yeah. They are my favorite movie. And by the way, for any listeners out there, Pete gave me a Lighthouse poster framed,
Mhm.
which stands in my bedroom. I look at it every night.
There's one right behind you too,
That's right.
on the wall right there. Yeah. Good times.
All right. So those are our news stories for today. Unless Joseph has. Oh, I forgot. Joseph isn't here. Has he called in yet?
No.
Ugh,
There was no
jeez.
need. It was unnecessary.
All right, fine. Well, let's get into some streaming picks.
Movies.
Wanna watch a movie?
Yes, indeed.
Disney Plus. Oh, HBO Max.
If I don't get the pick, show's over.
I have grown accustomed to Hulu Plus.
Amazon Prime?
I like Netflix.
You found the pick.
All right, streaming picks, movies that we have watched this week. Pete, what do you have?
All right. So first off, I have another message from the classmates. This was actually initiated by myself. So,
Okay.
and this will make sense in 1 second.
Okay.
So I sent last week. We talked about knife making on the show, and I read this.
That's right,
It's
yes.
great message from Joel, who's in the chat right now.
Oh.
At Smashy Hot Steel Forge on Twitch, and he's I mentioned in our thing, I basically said, oh yeah, Joel is a semi-competent knife maker, blah 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 blah, this and that.
Semi-competent.
And I meant to say semi-professional knife forger. So I sent him a message and said, hey, I called you a semi-competent knife forger on the show today. I meant to say semi-professional. My most humble apologies. I will fall on my hand-forged blade next episode and spin the wheel of punishment.
Oh God.
So I was almost had. Uh-oh.
What have I done?
Here it comes.
Made your bed.
Now it's time to sleep in it.
No.
Take your medicine.
Why are you doing this to yourself? It was a mistake. It was a slip of the tongue.
I must do what is right, and what's right is taking my lumps. So I'm going to read the message I got back from Joel here. He says, "Oh, I was not offended in the slightest. I might actually refer to myself as a semi-competent knife maker. I'm just starting out. It's a very high art, and recognizing where you are in your journey to mastery is important in any trade. None more so than bladesmithing, as a cocky knife maker tends to have accidents that leave scars." So
Oh my god.
and he actually had a little bit more to give on the topic of the Hunted, the William Friedkin movie that I was referencing about.
Oh
this.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He said, "Well, I was actually quite honored for the shout out on the show, and when you mentioned that the director had used a counterfeiter to actually counterfeit money for that other movie, To Live and Die in L.A., it made me twice as sure that not only did they probably have a bladesmith actually forge the knives and maybe tutor Benicio del Toro, but the way the stone knife, probably made of flint, was napped with competent strikes, it probably is a good bet that they would show his hands doing the napping. It's a close-up of his hands. I bet those are real flint nappers' hands making the knife, as they eventually show. It would make the most sense." And then he said, "I am going to let you off the hook for the punishment but if you insist, watch the original Judge Dredd and give me a quick mention in the Gavin Chatter episode." So this is my first streaming pick. Is Demolition Judge? Is it Judge Dredd or Demolition Man?
He
He
said
said Judge Dredd.
Judge
Good.
Dredd.
Good. I thought I misread that for a second because I did watch the original Judge Dredd from 1995, and it's not streaming anywhere, so it's not a proper streaming pick. But I'm paying it off now.
Okay.
I've never seen this movie. I convinced myself that I've seen it.
You've never seen it?
I convinced myself in my childhood head from 1995, so I would have been 9.
That's Sylvester Stallone, right?
It's Stallone,
Yeah.
Diane Lane, and Armand Asante. Also, Christopher Plum. No, Max von Sydow's in it.
I think you
and-
can get it confused with like RoboCop.
No, I'm definitely getting it confused with Demolition Man because
Demolition
Rob
Man,
Schneider's
okay,
in
yeah.
Demolition Man. It's also
Yeah.
a lot of black and red uniforms, but
Very similar.
for my money, this is a lesser version of Demolition Man. It's not as bad as my mind remembers it, even though I've never seen it before. But in my head, I was, for some reason, I remember it thinking, and there was one scene that I specifically remember that they cut off. There's a robot that pulls a guy's arms off.
Yes.
And they don't
yes.
show it, but they show from the waist down and then just the drench of blood falling when his arm comes off. I remember seeing that as a kid, and maybe that was enough to scare me away to not watch it. So it's a weird cross. Judge Dredd is a weird cross between like The Fifth Element with some of the flying car future. Definitely felt like the Super Mario Brothers movie from a few years prior to that.
So like like the dystopian sort of future.
Yeah, I'm talking more about like the way the world is built and shown to you. Is like in The Fifth Element, there's these skyscrapers and like taxi cabs flying in multiple levels and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Right, and they have a lot of that in this, which I didn't expect.
Yeah.
And then, but on the ground floor, when you're on the street level, it really feels like Idiocracy or the Super Mario Brothers movie, where it's like clearly a set, clearly like a street stage, and it's shot in a way that you could only get on a set with like a gimbal or a boom rig or something.
This was like made in like 94, right? Or like 93?
I don't know, 94, 95.
Yeah.
This is
so-
95.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird, like how like those kind of like sci-fi movies, like they like had like these like really like
Tyler.
tall.
You said like 12 times just now in that one sentence.
What?
No, I get it. It's weird because my frame of reference for the Judge Dredd series is Dredd, the remake,
Oh, with Carl Urban.
and it's so much better.
Oh
It's
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
I
so
agree.
much better.
I agree. Yes.
Unbelievably better. But it's still this wasn't bad though. Judge Dredd wasn't bad. It wasn't good either, but it also wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But I definitely know that I haven't seen the plot through from start to finish because I don't remember anything about the whole two brothers thing and the sharing the DNA. And that was something that I don't know if it was Joel or someone else had mentioned how it shared what was it? a storyline with twins. Two brothers that don't know their brothers separated at birth and they find each other. I was like, that's pretty funny. Judge Dredd and twins, basically the same movie.
Yeah.
So I took my punishment, Joel. There is Judge Dredd from 1995.
That's a punishment?
Yeah. Well, it's more, he let me off the hook for my punishment.
Okay.
Bruce says he might have a new movie for the Wheel of Punishment too called Trash Humpers, which I believe is either Harmony Korine or Larry Clark. It's one of the two.
All right.
But Joseph's not here. We don't have the Wheel of Punishment at our disposal.
Yeah.
So
we'll keep it in mind.
yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go through some actual streaming picks.
Okay.
I revisited a movie that I've only seen once in theaters. I saw it in 3D. I liked it well enough, but the 3D was jarring for me. It was from 2014, directed by Gareth Edwards. This is Godzilla, starring Aaron Taylor Johnson, Elizabeth Olsen, Juliette Binoche, Bryan Cranston, and Ken Watanabe.
He was in it for what, like 14 minutes?
Something like that. His character has more of an arc than I remember.
Yeah.
The first time watching it now, but
Yeah.
he was kind of promoted as the top billed guy.
Yeah.
And this was like at the height of Cranston's power.
Yes.
Breaking Bad went 5 seasons, 6 seasons,
7 seasons. No.
something like that.
Yeah, I think 6 or 7 seasons.
But
yeah.
it came out in 2008, so he would have been like, and this is 2014. It's like right at the finale.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this is streaming on Max. It's streaming on TNT and TBS and True TV.
Wait, TNT.
TNT and TBS and True TV.
TNT is still around?
Yeah, I guess.
Used to watch that when I was sick from school.
Yeah, it's still here. Excuse me. But this is Godzilla, and it's an interesting take on Godzilla.
Yeah.
I think I like this even more the second time watching it. And it's like the story is told from the perspective of the humans more than anything.
Yes.
And I know that happens a lot with modern kaiju movies. You spend most of your time, and I think a lot of the classics too. It's like, what are the characters doing? What's the government doing? And blah 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 blah.
It's more of like an existential sort of like film, in my opinion. Like,
well, that's not really what I'm getting towards. It's more that the relation of the characters to the monster, the way that the film is shot, makes it feel like you're almost like you're seeing the fighting of the kaijus from the perspective of the characters, where normally when you see Godzilla in all his power, all of a sudden it cuts to like a helicopter shot and you see all of Godzilla and then the two monsters are fighting each other. And there's definitely a couple scenes like that in this. But for the most part, it's like one of the Mothra type monster. Remember last week you said Monarch, maybe it has got Mothra in it.
yeah.
Well, Monarch is the like secret program. So they call the Mothra creature Muto, M-U-T-O.
Yeah.
Massive, unidentified terrestrial object. And then it flies, and they're like, well, he's no longer terrestrial. But anyways, they do have a couple shots like that. They're like kind of helicopter crane shots, or like definitely like a just 100% CGI wide angle that shows the fight. But for the most part, it's told the quote unquote camera is on the level of the humans. They're on the ground floor or level 30 of a building that just got half of it ripped off watching this fight happen, which I really appreciated. And it took things like, you know, a kaiju comes along and swipes like a bridge that's got a railroad track on it.
Yeah.
And that could be half a second in a 10-minute long, you know, fight sequence where it's destroying things. But they take the time to say, well, our main character, Aaron Taylor Johnson, was on that bridge. What does that look like to him? He falls into the water, you know, 30 floors below. And then here comes a train on top of him. And now he passed out and he wakes up the next morning and you just don't know what happens after that. And you're just because you're connected to the character. And now the kaiju's 100 miles away. So it's an interesting way to do the storytelling. And there is one specific sequence in this, which is so fantastic, where the Muto is able to shoot an EMP pulse out and like cripple anything within a certain range. So it starts with that. They're kind of in the wilderness, and he takes out the electronics of like a jet, and then the jet crash lands where the soldiers are, and then you cut over to Godzilla first being introduced, and he's swimming below the
Yeah,
aircraft carrier.
slithering and
Yeah, he's like, you can see his like iguana like swim,
yeah,
and you just see his spikes on the surface like a shark, and then he like goes underneath, and his wake is causing a tsunami,
yeah.
and you're like, holy shit, how big is this guy? And the way they roll it out like that is really, it puts the creature into a very different perspective.
And there's a really great shot of like when like the city's on fire and like you can just see Godzilla like with the fire, like the city burning like
he's
behind
like,
him.
he's on silhouette.
Yeah, it's so cool.
There's
like,
a lot of great shots in this.
It's a
and
really dark movie too. Like not
yeah,
like
it is.
like just like how it's shot. It's like really dark. Like it's all like in nighttime. Like there's not really. I mean, I guess there is a couple of daytime shots, but like it's really like overcast.
Yeah,
and
I don't think that the CGI necessarily held up in every scene, but that doesn't matter. It was still a very fun. It's still a very fun movie to watch.
It's a compelling like just monster movie.
Yeah, and the creatures are great. The Mothra and Mothra Jr. are pretty dope. They're laying eggs, which is an interesting, nasty physical addition to it. And Godzilla looks like Godzilla.
I did like that movie a lot.
Loved it.
And where's that streaming at?
That's on HBO Max and
Max,
TBS,
okay.
TNT, and True.
TNT. I didn't. Okay.
But
TNT.
go do it on Max. And I revisited another movie. It was one of the framed daily puzzles, and Brianna had never seen it before. And I'm like, oh, you never seen Collateral? She goes, no, I've never seen it before.
Oh, that's with Tom Cruise and
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx. That's right. Oh
yes.
Man,
directed by Michael Mann. This is streaming on Paramount Plus, Netflix, and you can rent it for $3-4 just about everywhere. And so cab driver Max picks up a man who offers him $600 to drive him around for the night, but the promise of easy money sours when Max realizes his fare is an assassin. So Tom Cruise playing the bad guy with the white hair.
You should be a trailer like announcer or something like that.
I would love that. And Jamie Foxx playing the nice, mild-mannered cab driver, which he's a very charismatic character in this, and he plays the part really well, in my opinion. Jada Pinkett Smith also has a small role in this, and she's fine.
Tom Cruise looks like a ridiculous ass in this movie, though.
He is. He is. He's menacing. He's really menacing, and I don't know. I've seen this 3 or 4 times. It's just a solid small thriller, and the ending doesn't have any big twists. It doesn't have. It's just the story comes to its natural conclusion, and it's just a fun action thriller, sort of a. I wouldn't call it a crime drama. I mean, I guess it is a crime drama because he's a hitman. He's on a hunt. He's basically trying to kill 5 people in one night on his contract.
I think
he's only paying him $600. What a cheapskate!
I know. What was that about?
$1,200 per head or something.
My favorite scene is the what is it like? They're like in that alleyway, and
the 2 guys try to rob him.
Yeah. That was. It reminded me of like True Detective.
Kind of. Yeah, it felt very realistic in that sense.
Like it seemed really realistic.
He sees these 2 guys, and the 3rd guy's like, "I gotta get out of here!" Wow.
Yeah, that was
a great scene.
Yeah, great scene.
So, anyways, I'm not telling you anything new. Collateral 2004, totally worth the watch. That's on Paramount and Netflix.
Nice.
I watched I watched the 3 sequels to Jaws. Jaws 2, Jaws 3D, and Jaws the Revenge.
Wait a minute, you didn't watch the first one, but watched
I watched Jaws like a couple weeks ago. Again, I rewatched it again for my mind's eye. I don't remember watching it ever start to finish. I've seen like so many clips of it that I have.
I don't think I've ever seen I've only seen Jaws 1. I don't think I may have saw Jaws 3D, but how was Jaws 2?
So Jaws 2 is not bad. Jaws 2 is a pretty
Okay.
good sequel to a great movie. There's definitely some boring parts in it, and they definitely overuse the shark and stuff. But it was pretty good, and they got Roy Scheider to come back as what was the name? Brody, Sheriff Brody.
Oh wow.
Yeah, or Chief Brody, I should say.
Yeah.
And I it was pretty good. Yeah, and like I didn't feel like I was cheated. And then I watched
Okay.
Jaws 3D, and I felt like this was some cruel joke. It was like a cruel joke on the world that they decided to make this movie with the name Jaws on it. Holy
Okay.
shit, this movie's bad. This is a shitty movie.
What was so bad about it? Was it just like the acting, or was it like the plot? Or...
Not so good acting. It's all set in like a SeaWorld scenario, and there's like one of the sharks is going after the humans because that was my mother in there, and I'm her son, and the shark is like attacking them.
The shark has like it wants revenge.
Which is so we'll get to that in a second, but there's this like it feels like they're toying with the idea of a smart shark that knows things and is not and is targeting people, and you're like, that's okay, that's a shitty concept that's not anywhere grounded to reality, which is why shark movies are scary, because sharks are real and people get scared of them. But the worst part of all this is that it's in the infancy of 3D. And the 3D that they throw at the camera is so bad. It looks like a Scooby-Doo cartoon. The green screening is so bad. And then Jaws: The Revenge is widely regarded as the worst of all the Jaws. Oh, and I forgot to say, Jaws 3D stars Dennis Quaid in it. Trapped. Who's trapped a few times. And then also Leah Thompson is in it too. The mom from Back to the Future.
Yeah.
So then Jaws: The Revenge is widely regarded as the worst of all the Jawses.
Okay.
And the tagline is, "This time it's personal."
Oh my god.
And this time it really is a smart shark. It follows them from like Maine or whatever they're at in Amity to Jamaica. It follows them to the Caribbean and attacks them, and the only people that it attacks are family members of the sheriff, Sheriff Brody. And the first like death of the movie is his son, his all grown up son. He's like 18 now or something and working for the police department. And he goes out to free some like trapped driftwood on a buoy or something. And the shark targets him, takes his arm off, and then like tortures him and then kills him. It's bizarre. It's like a smart shark that actually is going after. It's called Jaws: The Revenge for a reason.
If they explain why the shark had like this like upper intelligence, because you have to think about this, like the shark is just essentially a fish. Like it's a fish that can kill you. But if they explained like why this shark like had like this intelligence to target people, like then it'd be fun. It'd be more fun instead. Like but at the same time though, like
just let me finish my review, because I actually think this is better than Jaws 3D by a fair amount.
Wow, you think it's better?
I do. This movie is not the worst Jaws. Jaws 3D is the worst Jaws. And I think that they embraced just how shitty of a movie this was. I think that's really what happened.
Oh, okay. I can get behind that.
And
I can get behind that.
It has Mario Van Peebles in it, the director, who also does a lot of acting too, but he's putting on a wild Jamaican accent.
Oh God.
And Michael Caine is in this.
Michael Caine.
This is one of like the
Caine is in this?
like 5 or 6 movies that people kind of quote as his paycheck movies.
Okay.
When he just decided, I'm just going to get a bunch of money and just be in these shitty movies, and he's pretty damn good. He's pretty damn good in it. He's not. I don't doubt it. Does not seem like he's mailing it in or anything like that.
Not doubt it.
So, there's a lot of plane flying in this, and just kind of stuff that does not fit in the Jaws universe.
Sure,
but it works. So all the sequels, I don't know about the original Jaws, but all the sequels are streaming on Tubi. I did not watch them on that. I bought a 3-pack of the Jaws sequels on the Blu-ray. I watched them back to back with Brianna.
Oh my God.
So anyways, if you want to take that dive, and next week I'll talk about an actually good suspenseful creature feature set in the ocean that's on Shudder right now.
Okay.
We'll do next week.
All right.
What you got, Tyler?
So I have I I have one movie streaming pick, but I wanted to. I have another streaming pick. It's a Looney Tunes short.
Oh yeah, which one?
It's about what was that?
I don't know.
So it's a episode of Looney Tunes where Bugs Bunny is he's on a baseball field, and
Oh, is it the one where he's
with the Gas House Gorillas?
Yeah.
And
Love that cartoon.
And it's so I'm only mentioning it because of how well written and directed it was. And so the Gas House Gorillas are going against the I can't remember what the other team was. It was like the Teetotalers or something like that. And they're just the Gas House Gorillas are just like wiping them out, like just like they get up to like freaking like 90 like hits.
Yeah, they're literally doing a conga line around the bases.
They're doing the
home run after home run.
They're doing the conga line, and Bugs Bunny, he's such a pistol, like he's like booing the Gas House Gorillas, and he's like, boo boo, I could do this with one hand tied behind my back. And then and he's like in a hole on the field and they like pull him out of the hole, and they're just like, oh yeah. And then he goes and like, you know, he's like he's like playing all the positions too. He'll throw the pitch, and then like he'll go to the catcher's position and like throw his catches his ball.
Yeah.
And it's so hilarious. And then at the end of towards the end of the skit, one of the Gas House Gorillas, like he has this like tree trunk like that he's carved out into a bat, and he like hits the ball that Bugs Bunny throws, and it goes way out and out and out like into the city. And so Bugs Bunny like goes and he catches a cab. He catches a cab.
I love that your review is just this one Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Well,
beat for beat.
He catches a cab to try to catch the ball, and then who is in the cab? It's a Gas House Gorilla player.
Oh, of course.
Who's driving a cab?
I don't think any of these rules or regulations are being followed.
Well, I mean, like they're smoking cigars on the
That's
on
legal.
the field.
That's legal.
And
show me the rule book where it says a rabbit can't play baseball.
So I don't know. Like I thought that was like an amazing.
I'm gonna send you the link to my favorite Looney Tunes, which is Feed the Kitty. Seen that one? It's the big bulldog, and he finds a little kitten and keeps it.
Yes,
he has to hide it from the mom.
I haven't seen that in a while, but that's a great one. But on to the actual movie that I watched. I revisited The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, cool.
Starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Jonah Hill, directed by Martin Scorsese, written by Terrence Winter, and also Jordan Belfort, who this movie is based off of.
He was the writer.
Yeah, he's credited as a writer. This movie. So when I first watched this movie, I didn't like it at first. Like I thought it was a little bit too over the top, but then like when I revisited it last week, I thought that it kind of, I don't want to say like it was like a satire on like the excess of Wall Street or anything like that.
I'd say more of an exposure of it, or an indictment.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Like, yeah, it's an exposure of it, and especially because of the time era that it was based on. Like, because this was based on like the mid to late 80s, which when that kind of stuff was happening. And I think Jonah Hill overacted a little bit because he was so. If you don't know the story, or anyone else who doesn't know the story, is Jonah Hill took a huge pay cut to be in this film just so he can be associated with a Martin Scorsese movie. Like he only took like, I think he like got paid like $50,000. No, it was like $50,000 or $60,000 for the whole film, just so he could be in this film. And I think because of like his like overexcitement.
Mhm.
It kind of was a detriment to his to his performance.
I like his character.
I do too. I like his character, but it seemed like he was just like coked up, you know, like it seemed like
Characters on coke the whole time.
not really. Like you don't see him partaking, and so I thought that he like was a little bit overexcited. I thought Leo did a really good job at in. I want to point out a specific scene in that film.
Okay.
Have you've seen it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the scene where he goes into the penny stock office
Mhm.
and he makes his first sale,
Mhm.
and like everyone like gathers around
Mhm.
like while he's making that sale. Like that was such a great scene.
Mhm.
That was such a great scene because actually, you know, going up to that scene too, like he walks into the office and like Jordan, Leo's character, is like, so like what's the commission on this? And he's like 50%, and like he's like kind of flabbergasted
Yeah.
because like he's like used to like doing like the blue chip stocks and stuff like that, and he's like 50%. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, that's an insane margin.
Yeah, he's like, and because he thinks like that's child's play. Like
Sure.
I could make hundreds of thousands of dollars off of this, and I really like that idea of him going to this office of where people like who are just they're just making a living, like they're not trying to get rich like the huge like Wall Street like big players are trying to do, like, you know, like trying to make millions and stuff.
Mhm.
Like this is like a big player coming in because like he's kind of been like outcasted for a time, and then he basically kind of like takes the game and like turns it on its face, and it's like, okay, so like I'm gonna take advantage of this of this scenario. And
Yeah, he takes his knowledge from the big city stocks to these little small time stocks.
yeah, and then that's where like where he makes his money. What I didn't, one thing I thought was kind of shitty though, like I don't want to like play defense for him, but when the FBI agent goes on to his yacht
Mhm.
and Jordan Belfort says like, oh well, I can get you a job or something like that.
Yeah.
And the FBI is like, oh, that's a bribe.
Mhm.
And I didn't take that as a bribe. Like that didn't seem like a bribe. That was just I felt like that was like kind of like,
You know, he's
Like-
the villain in this story, Tyler.
I know I that's why I say I'm not trying to defend him, but like the way like that story like starts to cascade into his downfall, like I thought that was really
He just got too cocky, is what it was. He's flaunting his shit all over the place.
yeah, that's true.
And like
too.
he says directly to the camera, is any of this legal? Absolutely fucking not.
That's true. That's
This,
right.
this is one of my more favorite like sales based movies. They're based about salesmen and stuff.
Yeah, what was that Rob De Niro where he does that whole speech? Fuck, I can't remember what it was.
Robert De Niro? You talking about Glengarry Glen Ross?
You call yourself a salesman, you son of a bitch?
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Oh my god, I can't believe you called. I can't believe you pulled that clip. Yes, that's exactly the one I was thinking of.
Listen to this shit. You certainly don't, pal. Because the good news is you're fired.
Yes. But
What's my name? I drove down here in an $80,000 BMW. You drove down here in a Hyundai. That's my name. Fuck you. That's my name.
Yes. But so at first watch of Wolf of Wall Street, which was like a couple of years ago, like I wasn't really a big fan of it, but upon second watching, I actually really enjoyed it. I think it was a very accurate depiction of like the glitterati of like Wall
It was
Street
at least
in New York.
At least an entertaining depiction of it, because we don't know.
Oh
how,
yeah,
how
entertaining. Yeah,
how accurate
yeah.
it really is, but I agree. It's a banner performance from everybody, and it's
Yeah.
it's a nonstop debauchery fest.
And
so.
Matthew McConaughey's performance was just incredible in that film. Like he's just proving himself to be like one of the greats.
Joel says when Leo takes Jonah Hill's character out behind the restaurant when he smokes crack with him, he says, "I'm pretty sure that doesn't tell you that he's coked up all the time. I don't know what it is." They're either on Quaaludes or Coke or something all the time. So.
Well, fair point, Joel. I'll give you that. Fair point, Joel. But yeah. So, anyways, that's my stream pick. I mean, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so anything else, Tyler?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, cool. So thank you to our cool ass yard duties that are on Patreon. That is Javier, Listener Steven, Heather Sachs, Ryan Corbin, and Chris. And if you want to support us financially like all the other classmates, go to the Patreon pages, patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass. But if you cannot or you do not want to, that is fine. The show will always be for free. You can always share with a friend, rate us 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, or Good Pods. Until next time. Thank you for joining us as we gab and we chatter, and follow us later on in the week or in about 15 minutes on Twitchland as we review The Outsiders from 1983, Tyler's pick. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com. And follow us on on Twitter at podcastmcfc, and on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at Middle Class Film Class. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class, and on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class, and leave us a voicemail. Why don't you at 209-730-6010?
There we go. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
violate you. You let me desecrate you. You let me penetrate you. You let me complicate you. Help me, I broke apart my insides. Help me, I've got no soul I can sell. Help me, the only thing that works for me. Help me get away from myself. I wanna you like an animal. I wanna feel you from the inside. I wanna woo you like an animal. My whole existence is blind. You bring me closer to God. ocean. You can have vacated brains. You can have my absence of hate. You can have my everything. Help me tear down my reason. Help me, it's your sex I can smell. Help me, you make me perfect. Help me become somebody else. I wanna, you're like an animal. I wanna feel you from the inside. I wanna, you're like an animal. My whole existence is blind. You bring me closer to God. Come on, ladies, break it down. Through every forest, above the trees, within my stomach, scraped up my knees. I drink the honey inside your hive. You are the reason I want you ugly, I want your disease, I want your everything as long as it's free. I want your love, 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 I want your love. I want the drama and the touch of your hand. I want your leather-studded kissing in the sand. I want your love, 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 I want your love. You know that I want you, you know that I need you. I want your bad romance. I want your love, I want your revenge. You and me could write a bad romance. I want your love and all your lovers' revenge. You and me could write a bad romance. Oh, 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 caught in a bad romance. Oh, 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 caught in a bad romance. Hey, ooh la la, ooh la la. Want your bad romance, I want your horror, I want your design, 'cause you're a criminal as long as you're mine. I want your love, 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 I want your love, yeah. I want your
Hello again, Twitch.
Hi and hello, classmates. Welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class Movie Review Edition. I'm your host for today, Tyler.
I'm Peter.
No Joseph today, once again. I don't know why he's not here, but we're going to be reviewing my pick from the Wheel of Destiny, The Outsiders.
I bet they're looking for us.
This is our territory. This is our territory.
I wish that you could concentrate on something else just once in a while.
What's your name?
Ponyboy Curtis.
These greasers who tried to pick up on our women. Can't you see what I'm going through?
Must be someplace. Without grazers, socials. Must be someplace with plain ordinary people.
You be careful. Ain't gonna hurt you no more.
Stay gold, pony boy. Stay gold.
I hate that line so much.
Really?
It was delivered so poorly.
It's the main line that everybody calls to.
I know. So this is 1983's The Outsiders, directed by the famous Francis Ford Coppola, written by Kathleen Cowell and Essie Hinton. This is a very heavy star-studded cast for not at the time, because this was like in the beginning of everyone's careers. We have C. Thomas Howell, Matt Dillon, the Karate Kid, Ralph Macchio. Yeah, and then we have Patrick Swayze, Rob Lowe, Emilio Estevez, and even, if you can believe this, even Tom Cruise stars in this movie. So this movie is based off of a book, and this is I really enjoyed this book when I read it in elementary school, and then I didn't watch the
elementary school.
Yeah,
like sixth grade or something.
Yeah,
seems like kind of an adult book for elementary school.
It was like fifth or sixth grade that I read the book.
Weird.
But I didn't watch the film until when I was in summer school, like in I think it was my sophomore year. So this is about this film is about in a small Oklahoma town in 1964, the rivalry between two gangs, the poor greasers and the rich, what they call socias, heats up when one gang member accidentally kills a member of the other. Which it wasn't accidentally. It was.
I mean,
it,
I don't think he was trying to.
It was pretty intentional.
I don't think he was trying to kill him, but he was definitely trying to stab him.
Yeah, he was definitely trying to stab him. Yes, The Outsiders. This was my pick on the Wheel of Destiny, and yeah, you know, the reason why I chose this movie is because like for whatever, and by the way, please go to the show notes and see Pete and I's faces while we talk about this.
We're
Twitch.
streaming on Twitch right now through Stab Comedy. Thank you, Stab Comedy, for that. Thank you, Milk, for producing today's show.
Thank you. But anyways, so the reason why I chose this film is because there was just like one day where it just like it just like it was like a lightning bolt. Like I daydream a lot, you know. That's what I do. I daydream, and I thought about this because I'm sure you remember this, Pete. You remember like when they would like have like that like tray with like the TV.
It's called a TV tray.
Yeah, like like they roll like when the teacher just didn't give a good
you're talking about the roll around TV cart.
Yeah, the
school.
cart. Yeah, the cart. Like when the
Kids,
teacher.
I'm hungover. We're gonna watch Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like the teacher is just like, I don't even want to do anything today. We're just gonna put something on, and it'll fulfill like my obligation for the day.
Yeah. No children are gonna stab each other at least.
And so that's kind of what happened on my first viewing of watching The Outsiders.
Okay.
I was in a summer school English class, and it was in my sophomore year, and they rolled out the TV cart, and they showed us The Outsiders, and I was really into it. I was like, holy shit, this is really cool.
Okay.
This is really cool. And so about a few weeks ago, when I put this on the Wheel of Destiny, I was that's the reason why I put it on there, because like it just like struck me, like it was like one of those like weird memories, like when you don't remember what happened, and then like you just like remember it, and I was like, oh my god, I remember that. Like I remember like eating like these like cheap, like barely edible food.
Okay.
And but I think it kind of holds up, and we'll get into that in a little bit.
Okay.
So let's get into some initial thoughts. I really wish Joseph was here to give us some initial thoughts, but there's an empty chair there. But
Tyler's courting his wife right now, which is what you have to do. You can't just be like, oh, let's get married and let's never talk again. You must constantly court them, love them, dote on them, show them, fan their feet.
I don't know what that means. But Pete, what was your initial thoughts of The Outsiders? Was this your first watch?
Yes. Never seen The Outsiders.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Never had a really big desire to see The Outsiders. Didn't seem like my type of movie. And I believe that I was right in my own assessment. It's not my type of movie.
Okay.
It was fine. I mean,
I can see that. Yeah.
Well, there was some good stuff there, and it felt to me kind of like a stage play turned into a movie rather than a book turned into a movie. And the set pieces didn't seem specifically spectacular. There was one really cool shot that they don't even linger on when Ponyboy, I can't remember if it has to be Ponyboy. Yeah, Ponyboy fights his older brother for a second, Patrick Swayze.
And like he's in the house.
Yeah, they're inside the house, and Swayze throws him down. Soda Pop, I think, is his name.
Yeah.
Or is that Tom Cruise's character?
No, Soda Pop.
These names. What are these names in this book? This Fakakta book.
I know.
Daryl is his name. Daryl Curtis. Yeah. Soda Pop is Rob Lowe. So Daryl throws him to the ground and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, Pony. I didn't mean it, Pony." And he runs out of the house, and there's a sliding camera shot that goes from.
They call him Derry, actually.
Yeah. Derry and Dally. which is like how much energy do you need to expel to call him Daryl and Dallas? It's not that much harder. But anyways, the camera moves through the wall, like almost like that house had a removable wall to it, and it follows him as he runs out the front door. Really fast little shot, and I saw it. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's what a good filmmaker would do in that, and it makes it seem seamless. And if you're not paying attention to it, you're like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But then there were some other camera shots that were like weird zoom ins on Johnny's face, like as he's talking, and zoomed in like a fucking speech bubble, like Mufasa in the sky or something, you know. There was just some weird decisions in some of the shots that took me out of it.
Yeah.
And it was ultimately just like a very melodramatic sort of, oh, we're poor, boo-hoo, and all those rich guys are assholes and fuck them. And then we never really got to see much of the life of the rich guys, like to see how like what
their
made,
perspective.
Yeah, what made them be like this? Are they I don't know. It felt like it was really it was an hour and a half long movie. It could have been a little bit longer, give a little bit more character exposition and growth. But it's yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'll probably ever rewatch this again.
Yeah.
it was and it's just me. You whatever you want, but it was fine. Like, I'm glad I watched it, so I have a frame of reference for it, and just watching the kind of star-studded cast, humble beginnings, was good. But yeah, a lot of times with Matt Dillon feels like he was overacting quite a bit, and Ralph Macchio was probably the most
the Karate Kid.
No, Ralph Macchio, Johnny Cade. He was I think he probably has the most like sympathetic character. Obviously, he dies basically a hero, but more or less an unsung hero.
Yeah.
And his whole like arc of him like slowly dying in the hospital is just kind of brutal, and it felt almost mean-spirited in a way, you know? Like let's take like the kindest guy we have in this whole crew and let's put him in the fucking fire. And that's he's not going to die immediately. We're going to drag it out a little bit. He's going to be laid up in the rudimentary 1950s hospital.
Yeah.
With basically just his pain to keep him company.
Yeah. So great initial thoughts.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's all right.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's
okay. Yeah. You know what? I'm on the same page as you, as with you as well. I think the reason why I like this movie so much is because when I watched this movie and when I read the book, like I was a young boy, and you know, I was full of angst, and I was blossoming into puberty. So like, I really felt like, because I felt like like the title suggests, an outsider. Like I felt like an outsider, and you know, by all means, I kind of was like, and so I really like got I got the point of like the Socs and the Greasers like sort of rivalry, because like I have been in that situation before. And so at the time when I was at the age that it's because they're 14, 16ish in that age range.
At least the younger ones are.
Yeah. So like I got that, like I got that like attitude from the story. But watching it now, like being a 31 adult, it's kind of it doesn't hit me as much. Like there's so much like angst, and it's like I don't have like that sort of angst.
I'm surprised that you didn't latch on to the bit of the story as much, because of, you know, maybe a rougher childhood or a rougher time finding your crew, your people, you know.
Well, you know, like it's just because like I mean I've already been there and done that. Like,
doesn't looking back on it feel like watching a movie like this feels like you're watching a memory in some way?
My phone's slippery.
Brand new phone on the ground. Hear that, Daryl?
Oh no! Please don't tell my dad. I mean, like I wouldn't say it unlocked. It didn't like unlock like some sort of memory or anything like that, like because like like I said before, like I've been there and done that. But regarding the film, though, I agree with you. Like I think Matt Dillon was a little bit overacting, but at the same time, though, like I have met people who act like that, like in my youth, like so, like I could, so in a way, I could relate. I mean, I think Ralph Macchio's character, Johnny, I think he was the best actor. I think Ponyboy, like he just wasn't that great. But the caveat is I think what Coppola was trying to do, like he was trying to make like an old style movie, like from like the 50s and 60s, because that's the way the lines were delivered and the way it was filmed. It felt like if you were watching The Outsiders and you didn't know it was filmed, or if it was released in 1983, it felt like it would have been released in like the 50s or 60s.
Okay.
At least in my opinion, like that's how I felt. Because like when you think about like 1983 movies, like you're thinking about like Rocky or like Rambo or like
Rocky's in the 70s.
Okay, well, still.
So
like,
what do you think when you're thinking of a movie from the 50s? Like what comparable? Like Grease? Grease is from 1978.
So when I'm thinking of like 50 or 60s like media, like I'm thinking of like Twilight Zone. Like I know like the plots of Twilight Zone and The Outsiders are like completely not similar.
Wait, what?
But like the production of both of them are like very similar in the way that they're composed.
I see what you're saying, but I disagree. I think that it feels like early 80s to late 70s.
Really?
Yeah, cinema, because I mean just in the 50s era.
Well, I guess Raging Bull was in like 81, right? So
I have no idea. Let's look. But like just think about the what's it called? The Grease, the one of the more famous 1950s set musicals. That was 78. Feels very similar to this in the sense that it's just like there's a lot of
it's like classic.
Classic. The whole thing is filmed on sets, you know, and I don't necessarily think that all of this movie is filmed on sets, but I mean they have the church house kind of out in the wilderness, and there's a couple like scenes that are shot on the street, but it didn't feel like a sprawling, expansive thing,
right? Yeah.
Which when you're usually taking a movie that's adapted from a book, it seems like, I know that every story is different, but a lot of books they have such intense character development and such a way that they can tell an expansive story and all the nuance and details of that story, which I don't feel like I got this here.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you.
All that being said, though, I can understand why this might be a very important movie for certain people. If you're in your, I don't know, teens to 20s and you're watching this in 1983, 84, 85, which just come out on video or whatever, and you're seeing this and you're like, ooh, that's a rough and tumble life. I came from a similar life. Well, maybe not that. I mean, no one's stabbing each other, but yeah, we would rumble, we'd fight.
Yeah.
We'd throw fists. You know, all that I think could mean a lot to certain people.
Yeah, you know, I think
coming of age in a tough time, you know.
Right. So I mean, after this is my second time watching it, and watching it through this critical eye, I think there's a little bit more to be desired, because I feel like there's some very interesting plot lines that I wish in like characters that could have been explored a little bit more, like you were saying about like the rich people, like how they were just only portrayed as like villains. Like it would have been interesting to see that like juxtaposition of like the greasers and the socias. Like I feel like there could have been a lot more to explore. However, I think if you're an English teacher at a high school who is just hungover and doesn't want to teach a class, like you show them The Outsiders, I think you're doing a service to your students.
Sure, this is fine. This is good.
It's okay.
No, this would be a fine movie to show to a young group of kids.
Yeah,
teenage years, maybe even below that a little bit, because I don't know. It doesn't necessarily. I mean, it does a good job of showing the consequences, but it's like, okay, the guy killed a guy, and then he died in a fire before he faced the consequences of killing the guy. So, really, where's the message lying there? I don't know. But he died a hero.
So let's get into
the murder is okay as long as you anti-murder someone later.
So
he anti-murdered those kids.
Yeah, it cancels each other out.
Yeah, he anti-deathed them.
So we start out with Ponyboy, Johnny, and Dallas. They're portrayed as like these like greasers, and
well, they are greasers. That's their character.
Yes. And they go out to the drive-in theaters, and Cherry, I can't remember her last name, but like Cherry and her friend, they get offended because the Socs, who are their boyfriends, they're trying to make a move on them, probably trying to, like touch their, private parts. And
are you gonna recall the whole story like this?
No, I'm not. I'm just setting it up.
Right.
And so they go, and I didn't know that. I wish drive-in movies had this like seating arrangement.
I don't want that,
because that would be awesome.
No,
wait, why would you want that?
I don't want to be in my car and have people outside sitting next to my car.
But it would be in the back, though. It's like, because it shows that it's like in the back.
Get a car. Or go to the regular movie theaters.
There's a lot of cool cars in this movie too.
Good car movie.
Yeah, it was a good car movie. I liked how the Socs, they're always driving up in like a Mustang. What was it, like a 68 or it was? I think it was like a 68 Mustang.
It looked like a 65.
Oh, 65.
They're all pretty damn similar though.
Yeah, they are. But it looked really cool.
Did you know the book that this was based off of, called The Outsiders? Get this, The Outsiders. Written by S.E. Hinton. She started writing the book when she was 15, finished it when she was 16, and published it when she was 17.
It's that? Oh my God!
Can you imagine writing a book and releasing it before the age of 17?
Becoming iconic too.
And becoming this iconic of a like an American cultural icon.
Wow.
Yeah, and then apparently she went on to write a couple other a bunch of books really, but I have a list here. Well, I guess it's not necessarily a list, but I called out to the Cinematics Facebook group and Twitter to ask about people's opinions on The Outsiders, because this is such an iconic movie, and there's some interesting stuff here. So I'm going to read through it. So that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this is from the Cinematics Facebook page. Oh boy, where did I go? literally just lost. I hit refresh and everything went away. So if you're not on the Cinematics Facebook page, it is a great place to be. Cinematics, the podcast, is the heart and soul of it, hosted by Bruce Perky, Eric Holmes, and Greg Sarsavasti.
Oh yeah, please check that out.
Yes, it's a great podcast, but the actual Facebook page as well is a great place for like movie people to congregate, have just a good time talking with each other and having fun.
Yeah.
So
it's a great community.
Yeah, I completely lost the post. So Tyler, go ahead and finish your thoughts on whatever you're talking about before.
Oh well, I was just gonna say, like, I really like how. So like, I feel like Dallas, Matt Dillon's character, gets a little bit. He gets the business a little bit too much. So when they
gets the business or gives the business,
gets the business.
I think he's a right asshole.
No, he
needs to shut the fuck up.
He's a complete ass.
Yeah,
like
he should get more business.
But at the same time, though, like if you recall in the scene, when they're sitting in the seats at the drive-in movie theater,
Okay.
you know, he's being a dick and stuff like that, and he's like, okay, well, let me get you talking to the ladies, and he's like, okay, I'll get you guys like drinks and stuff like that and some popcorn. And then he goes, he gets the drinks and the popcorn, and then he hands the drink to Cherry, and he's like, that should cool you off. And then she throws the drink in his face.
He was being an asshole. No, he was being an asshole to her. She didn't ask for the drink.
But it
He was
doesn't matter.
he was
That's
pestering
a
her.
nice gesture to
No,
do.
Fuck him.
That's a nice gesture.
Fuck him. He was being a real asshole to her.
He was.
Yes,
I'm
he
not,
was.
I'm not.
So you're
I'm not
justifying. You're justifying. You say all you
I-
got to do is spend money on a broad, and she has to be nice to you. No, they have autonomy. They can make their own decisions, Tyler.
All I'm saying is
They're
is that-
people too. A radical.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. But all I'm saying is like I feel like in his own way, like he knew that he was being kind of a dick. He's like, okay, I'll get them refreshments, and he just like he probably didn't say the right thing. He probably shouldn't
He
have
was
said
physically touching her when she didn't want it either.
It's not that. Not really.
Yes,
like,
yes, he was.
Well,
I'm gonna fuck with you next time you don't want me to be around you and see how you like it.
Oh god.
I'm like, hey, give me some of that popcorn. What are you doing? What are you doing? What's going on over here?
I'll be
Hang out.
asleep.
Yeah. Okay, I found the Facebook page.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I just asked everybody, what do you like about The Outsiders? What's your thoughts, etc. It's a classic movie at this point in history. So David Gulick says, I really like this movie. I think it was somewhat underrated when compared to other movies of the 80s. It's amazing how pretty much everyone in the main cast was not really well known at the time, but all went on to different levels of success in the film industry. Matt Dillon was probably the only recognizable face to the general public, having been in the movies Little Darlings from 1980 and My Bodyguard from 1980. Funny enough, Tom Cruise, who played the smallest role of the main greaser characters, went on to the most success.
Yes.
And Little Darlings, I just watched that this year for the first time. Pretty good, interesting camp. It's like a camp sex movie, but told from the perspective of a girl wanting to lose her virginity rather than the trope of the guy trying to lose her virginity.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Bruce Perky says Tom Cruise has jacked up teeth in it.
Nice insertion of Bruce Perkyisms.
And I looked it up, and what it was is that Tom Cruise had a cap on one of his front teeth. Through like after he had a hockey injury, he took a hockey puck to the mouth, so his two front teeth had removable like prosthetic caps.
Okay.
And for the movie, he took one of them off.
Wow.
To get that funky, fucked up grill.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Which I thought that's pretty admirable. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, he went on to obviously the most success, Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he met Zeno and everything. Okay, and then moving on, Elijah Moorhead says, we read the book in junior high and I watched the movie. I haven't seen it since, but I have very fond memories of it. Matonio Adonis Elios, who's our delegate from Japan, says, wow, a more 80s paperback book cover painting looking movie poster I've never seen.
Oh yeah, we should give context because you posted this on the cinematics page, right? Yeah,
it's just a picture of the book cover style. It's like a watercolor painting.
It's so good. It's so good.
And then he continues and says, considering the source material, they probably paid one artist to kill two stones, make a movie and release the book to coincide with a big movie being released. Maybe he's just talking about the art. Tracy Stonefield Peters and Brian O'Connell both say loved it. Chad Wilfong says, I watched a lot when I was younger and I read the book, but it's been years since I've seen it, but I'm eyeballing that 4K. Apparently there's a 4K release.
What?
Yeah. Joe Bridges says, I remember being very underwhelmed after knowing of its quote unquote classic state for decades. Feels like something someone who grew up in the 60s would be nostalgic about in all the most boring ways, and that the 80s allowed. For example, nearly every 80s Oscar bait movie.
You know what? He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
And then over on Twitter, at the real Pete with 4 E's in the middle, Matt Stillman says Gen X teens loved their teen melodramas, and we got 4 screenplay adaptations from S.E. Hinton books, including this. They probably seem very corny today. Matt Dillon was the most popular of the teen stars in the cast, but Tom Cruise took over almost immediately. And I asked him, I said, what were the other ones? And I took a guess based off of the IMDb listings, and it was Rumblefish, Tex, and I don't know what this is. TWTTN. I don't know.
WTT.
I don't know. No, sure. I don't know. I wrote it instead of a long title of a book, and I don't know what it is now because I just looked it up on IMDb.
All right, well, that's either here or there.
S.E. Hinton apparently creating the young nostalgia vibes for so many Gen Xers.
Yeah,
is that Gen X? What's above millennial?
No,
not boomer, right?
Yeah, so it's Gen X, millennial, then Gen Z.
No, but who's older than the millennials?
Who's older than millennials?
Between boomers and millennials. Is that X?
I think it's Gen Z.
Gen Z? I think Gen Z is below us. Those are Zoomers. Or younger than us.
Oh, I don't. It doesn't matter.
And,
I think.
And last comment from Force 5 podcast, another great podcast from Jason Kleberg says, I watched this when the special edition DVDs was released, but I don't remember anything about it. It must have been mid-90s. So
they had a special edition in the 90s?
In the mid-90s. That's like 10 years later.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess that's an appropriate time.
Yeah. So kind of mixed reactions, and that's kind of, it's more, it makes more sense after watching it because I figured it was just this universally loved movie, and I really think that if you experienced it as a young person and you hold on to those memories, maybe don't go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, so that's a great point that you bring up because so like going into the movie, like when you look at it like story wise, it's a bit like when you read the book is definitely a little bit more complex, but like the movie, it's weak character development wise. You're supposed to like the movie, what to me is making it's like Coppola is assuming that you already know these characters. Like you're already supposed to like
that could be the case. I think that's probably a good assessment because I don't know anything about the characters, and I just kind of felt like Ponyboy gets some good kind of backstory, and you do get a couple of character beats. Like Patrick Swayze's character is a little bit more complex than as the kind of story carries on.
There's a lot of assumptions to be made, like when you're watching.
Yeah, but I didn't feel the growth of any of the characters.
Exactly.
And having a kind of a ensemble cast like that where you have so many different characters, I know that you really have to like leave a few of them in the dust. You can't focus on everybody, but you are pretting a lot of emotional weight on a lot of different characters, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I want to talk specifically about Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so his
Johnny Cade.
So he has, so he obviously like he has a troubled life in his household.
Yeah, his mom. Mom doesn't even want to see him in the hospital. He thinks she does come to see him, but he's like, get away.
Yeah, eventually, she's like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see her.
It was something like 5 days he was gone, and Matt Dillon's character Dal was saying, he's like, you didn't even answer my question. Did my parents ask about me? He's like, no, they didn't. So what? He's like, just to forget him, It's like, it's been 5 days.
Yeah.
And she knows that he's one of his friends, and no one's asking around for Johnny Cade.
No one's asking. Where's Johnny at?
Yeah, he just assumed he's in a ditch
he's not at school. Like the teachers don't care or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I mean, but like the problem with this movie is like, because like 97% of the population is like dumb as shit, so like they're not going to make the assumptions that we would make like watching this movie. And this is like a great like reach that like we have to like as a viewer for the film The Outsiders, like you have to make a really great reach
for what
to like assume like the tragedy of the character situations. Like,
well, I think Ponyboy gets a good character growth, or well, maybe not growth, but you understand who he is, and he is by far the main protagonist. And Johnny, he starts out as a sad sack. He ends up as a sad burnt sack.
Oh God.
And then Matt Dillon, Dallas character, he's pretty flatline the whole time. He's a real asshole. They hang out with him because he's one of their brothers, I guess, or something. And
he's kind of like the patriarch of like the like younger ones, which I you know, like I've experienced that before, and like I can totally like relate to it. But I think
having an older guy in your group of friends, it doesn't matter how much of a shithead they are, for the most part. If you're young enough, you're probably going to gravitate towards that, which is scary and sad in some situations.
Yeah, I mean, like I just you know, I think what The Outsiders do, like at least the film, like although like it's kind of it's a little it falls flat with the complexity of the situations that everyone is dealing with, like, and especially like when Johnny stabs one of the Socs. I felt like they started to lean on to Johnny's like sort of like psyche about like what he had done, and then they kind of just threw it away with him getting burned into the fire when they were trying to save the children from the burning church, which I felt like that was like a really weird turn of events. When like the church was burning, they're like, oh, there's kids in there, and when I was watching the movie, because I had completely forgot about that
I like how
part.
the second teacher's like, I don't think there's any kids missing.
Yeah, I know.
The one teacher's like, I guarantee it, we're missing like 6 kids. He's like, nah, they're right.
Like they did a head count. He's like, it's fine.
Was it 21 or was it 27? I don't know.
Yeah, he's probably drunk. But so I like
Jerry.
But I think with that turn of events in the movie, like I didn't really like that. Like I didn't like that Johnny like got like infirmed because of like that burning church. Like I didn't really understand why they went into that sort of direction. I was really hoping for like when they have like the big rumble at the end of the movie, like where the Socs and the Greasers like all fight each other. I was hoping that there would be a little bit more of an emotional impact for that, but like at the end of the day, like it was just them fighting, and then they just kind of like walk away. Like
I know, what a climax. Hey, we're gonna fight, and then no
one dies or anything like that.
We won because they ran, I guess.
Because from my recollection, when I chose this movie, I don't know why I remembered this, but like because I misremembered it, but like I thought like someone of importance died in that fight. But no one dies in that fight. Everyone just like gets beat up, and then they just eventually just walk away.
Yeah.
Like what like the intent was like,
well, that's how it was back then. Is
it how that was?
You'd fight. It was a fair fight, no weapons. You'd fair fight, and then once somebody gave up, you're done. That's it. And for the next, I don't know, few months, you can walk around like your shit don't stink, and the other guys are walk around like they're
with tail between
their legs.
Shame.
Until the next rumble. I mean, maybe it would have changed things potentially because Bob died. You know, Bob was killed, and that's in the fountain. But you know, he deserved it.
Well, he was about to kill Ponyboy.
Yeah,
and which let's put the names Ponyboy and what was it? Soda Pop.
Soda Pop. Yeah.
Ponyboy says, there's a line that he says that Soda Pop is on the birth certificate of it. Like he's actually named Soda Pop.
Yeah. So what of it?
I can't even imagine like being like I don't know how birth certificates are made. Like, are they done in the hospital or not? But like, I can't even imagine like the person who's like coming up with the birth certificate, and the guy's like, You know what?
Name him Soda Pop.
Name him Soda Pop.
Oh, name him Corn Dog. Corn Dog Curtis.
And they're like, "Are you sure? Are you sure, sir? Are you sure?" And you're like, yeah. My the mother's a hooah. I don't care.
What the hell are you talking about?
Well, I'm just acting like the father that
Okay.
who named his fucking name as Soda Pop.
Oh, you're spitting, Matt. You're cursing up a storm over there.
I know. Sorry,
I heard you drop that F-bomb.
I know. I didn't mean to work blue there, but
yeah, I got some trivia. You want to hear some?
Oh yeah. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so Emilio Estevez and Tom Cruise are childhood friends before this, and landed the parts for at the same time. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, everyone on the cast was in their late teens except for Patrick Swayze, who's 29.
He was 29 in 1983.
Of course, he played the parent figure more or less, like the oldest brother.
Yeah.
And then Ralph Macchio and Leif Garrett. Leif Garrett played Bob, who was murdered. Were both 20 when the film was filmed in 1982.
Ralph Macchio was 20.
20 years old, playing like a.
He
was
14. He was supposed to be like 16. Yeah,
16,
he was supposed to be
16 in that, but he looked 14.
Yeah, he looked 14. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. There's some pretty funny ones in here. During the filming, all of the kids were staying in hotel rooms like near this site, and S.E. Hinton, the writer of the book, who actually was on set for the whole part, and she was a big part of the filming process and lending her expertise about the story and whatnot. She says that since they were all, a lot of them, without their parents, that she kind of took on a parent figure, like a mother figure to them.
She was only like 17 or 20 years old.
No, I think the book was published far before that.
Oh, okay. So she was.
Yeah,
okay.
I think she was older than them.
Okay.
Maybe not by that much, but at one particular incident, she recalled that they had right after they filmed the drowning scene where Leif Garrett was trying to drown C. Thomas Howell's character. They recreated it in the fountain in the front of the hotel, like gang drowning. This is their friend.
Oh my god!
It was so bad that
the
hotel removed the fountain.
It was so bad.
Yeah, they didn't want to even test it anymore. Also, there's a small cameo by Francis Ford Coppola's daughter, Sofia Coppola, from Godfather 3. She played the little girl that's like, "You got a dime?"
Oh, that was her?
Can I get 17 cents?
Wow.
Yeah, with the pigtails.
Wow.
Just as annoying in this movie as The Godfather 3. Diane Lane said that during the scene with Cherry and Ponyboy talking before the Rumble, C. Thomas Howell was making funny faces at her when the camera was only showing her face, which made it hard for her to concentrate and not laugh. During the commentary, almost 20 years later, she reminded him of that, and he responded saying, "Francis told me to do it."
No. Wow. What a jokester.
Yeah. But there's all kinds of interesting, or
it sounds
not,
like it was a fun set. Like,
I think anytime you have like a bunch of young kids together on set, it's got to be fun.
Yeah.
If you at least if you're letting them be themselves.
Yeah, I mean, especially like with like the tenor of like the movie, which is, you know, like kind of like angsty sort of like teenagers, which they're already probably experiencing, but then it's kind of like exemplified a lot more. Like, it's probably really fun, and especially because, like, you know, you're getting free room and board and like food and stuff like that. It's just like, you know,
Tom Cruise, years after the movie came out, was introduced to someone who said they worked at the hotel that all the kids were staying at, and he apologized to them.
He apologized.
Says, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, there's also some major character differences from the descriptions in the novel. In the novel, Dallas has extremely blonde hair, but his hair's almost jet black in the movie.
Yeah.
Also, in the movie, Two-Bit, played by Emilio Estevez, is 6 foot tall, and Emilio is only 5'6".
Oh my God, he's that short. Wow. I think you know, like reflecting on this movie, I think Matt Dillon's character was I think Matt Dillon is like a phenomenal actor. And I know a lot of people like don't like his acting in this movie particularly, but like I actually did like it. I thought it was very grounded. It showed just to myself, like it showed that he like you didn't have his performance. You didn't have to know like his background. Like you knew
it was rough.
Like you knew he was rough around the edges.
I could understand what character he was going for. It was
Exactly.
a very like you know that character. It feels
Yes.
fine. I just think that it was. I mean, that's who the character is, but it was too much over the top for me.
But I mean, you said it correctly, Pete. That like this feels like a
Stage play.
Stage play.
Yeah.
But just on film. And I think this would absolutely be a great play. I don't think it translates well on film. However, Coppola did the best he could with what he had.
I still think he did a good job, and for that era, it was probably a blowout sensation, classic. Feel like it just hasn't aged as well as a lot of '80s classics. I don't think
I agree.
I don't think it has
completely.
nearly as much
Staying power. And
well, for the reason why though, I think is it doesn't have nearly as much cheese or camp factor to it. It's played ultra serious, but it doesn't. The whole movie does not land ultra serious in a modern era to me.
I completely agree, and I was thinking about this as well too. Is I think if you're going to put the plot of The Outsiders onto film, it should be done in a TV series, just to develop the characters more.
I mean, could be good.
But at the same time, though, it's like, how many times have we seen this sort of like teen angst sort of like storyline? Like, it's like, do we need another Outsiders?
At the time, this was very exciting. I'm sure for people to watch.
It was.
There's been a lot of movies since then that I think might have improved upon the model, improved upon the formula.
Yes.
But
Yes.
All in all, still pretty good. So
I think just we're gonna wrap it up here in a little bit, but I think the whole church burning scene and saving the kids, I think that throw that out.
That's my favorite scene. Liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Yeah. That was my least favorite. That was my least favorite scene. Johnny succumbing to his burn wounds. I didn't like that either. I didn't like that either.
I just thought they did the character dirty. He already had a fucked up life. At least if you're gonna kill him, just kill him in the fire. Let him die there. Don't drag it out for 3 weeks.
So like what I did like about Johnny is like he poked a guy and killed him, and I thought that was really good. But like him like having like this like redeeming arc of him like saving children from a burning church, that's a little bit too on the nose. And that, you know what, and now knowing that the author was like 16 or 17 years old writing that, like, okay, it makes sense. Oh, he's gonna redeem himself by saving children from a burning church.
Yeah, it does seem kind of like a cartoon.
It's like, God. But what saves this movie for me is that is the way the actors acted as angsty like young adults. Like they really felt real, in a sense of like it didn't feel too over the top. Like it felt like if you're a young, like for myself, like as a like 14 to 16-year-old person, like, and I'm watching The Outsiders after reading the book and stuff like that, I was like, yeah, I'm a greaser. I'm an outsider. And I think it's really effective in that way. But as an adult right now, I'm just like, I can appreciate it, and I think I appreciate the integrity of the art. but it's just it was.
Why don't you grade it? You're already going up. I don't want you to give a grade.
Well, let's get into some grades right now.
You do it.
So,
you just finish your thoughts.
no, that I was done. I was just.
So what's your grade?
Mike, I'll go first then. So my grade, I'm gonna give it a C, solid C.
C, huh? All right.
Yeah. What about you, Pete? What do you give this?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go C plus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably C plus. It's not a movie made for me. So take that for what it's worth. I think that there's a fair amount of people that are gonna. This is gonna be like catnip to them. It's gonna be absolutely. It's like up their alley, you know.
Catnip.
Catnip. Why is that funny? They're just drawn to it, you know.
Never heard of that before. That's funny.
You've never heard of catnip?
No, I just never heard of that and used in a sentence like that.
Okay,
it's gonna be like catnip to them.
It just means it's in their wheelhouse. It's up their alley.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
Okay.
It's just funny.
All right. But that group of people is not me. I mean, I don't think I was a soch or a greaser. You know,
you're like right. You're the in between the lines.
I just don't think that my life that I had growing up, there were soches and greasers. You know, it's like once you develop, maybe this is the tale of rural life rather than city life, because when you see the city high school dramas or the city young adult dramas, it's more SLC Punk or Clueless, where there are multiple classes that you can align yourself with, you know, and more like identities than a class sort of thing.
Social hierarchy is so weird.
It is such a weird thing.
Such a weird thing.
We were talking about this with Reed just the other day, and so, anyways, I'll give it C plus.
Okay. Okay.
I'm bordering on B minus, but C plus. It just didn't land on me.
So I feel you.
But we were talking about like weird social norms the other day, Brianna and I, and there's a subreddit that's just called Outfits Are Outfits. And the idea is
outfits.
Yeah, just outfits.
Oh, okay.
And the idea is you take a picture of yourself and you say, "I'm going to a barbecue. Does this look like a barbecue outfit? You know, how's this look?" Or "I'm going to a wedding. How's it between these two outfits? What would you choose?" And people are basically saying that looks great, but not for a wedding. You know, that looks more like way too casual or way too formal for a barbecue or something.
Okay.
And it's like just the idea that this sort of shirt and pants combination versus that sort of shirt and pants combination. It does the same thing. It's covering my body and my orifices, you know, but I'm still going. It's like, this is, if you show up in a suit to a barbecue, people are gonna be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Well, I mean, you would have to have low intelligence to even consider doing that.
But do you? Or do you just have low social acuity?
Well, you know, honestly, I don't give a good goddamn what anyone thinks. I'm gonna wear what I.
You're just gonna wear your fingerless gloves.
That's right.
And your vampire. What is that? Vampirella.
Yeah, it's vampire
T-shirt you're wearing.
It's a Supreme Vampirella shirt that came out in 2016.
You're talking about me rolling in dough. You got more Supreme gear than anybody that I know. Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. So C plus from Pete, solid C from myself for The Outsiders, and now it is off the wheel, and now we go into the Wheel of Destiny. 1 wheel, 8 slots, 3 hosts. This is the Wheel of Destiny.
Okay, The Outsiders is off the wheel. Tyler, do you have a replacement?
I do. I've learned my lesson.
All right.
After
Good for
the
you.
last, well, yeah.
Sounds like you're doing better.
Yeah,
You're doing
I am.
better.
I am.
Hey, there we go.
So this is going to be a very uncharacteristic movie that I'm choosing, but this is one that me and my late great friend Brent Daniels watched together. That we had a very decisive opinions on.
Okay.
This is 2011's Rango.
Oh, I just did the streaming pick for this. I love this movie.
Yeah, I do too. And so I I haven't seen it in a very long time, but I'm going to want to watch it and review it again.
Well, I'm not going to ask you anything more about it because I'm curious with your introduction to that, what that means.
Well, so there.
No, don't tell.
No, so, well, hold
Don't
on.
spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil it. I was going to say there was a time where there was every time that something bad happened to me and my late great friend, we would say we just got rangoed.
He's got rangoed. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Can't wait.
I'm going to show the wheel here to the old podcast or Twitchland viewers.
Yes.
And I'm going to recap it for everybody now. We have Arachnophobia from Tyler, Rango from Tyler, Cat in the Hat from Joseph, Equilibrium from Joseph, Crybaby from Chris, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy from Dylan, Call Me By Your Name from Pete, and Possessor Uncut from Pete. So I'm going to give this a spin. This is what we watch next week. Going right into the camera here. Looks like it's Rango.
2 times.
Yeah, that means you can't host a week after that.
Yeah, that is true. All right,
We
so
have a two-term limit. So why don't you spill the beans? What made you hold this in such high regard with Brent? You and Brent.
Well, so we watched this in theaters, and like we were unemployed at the time. Like we were bums.
Okay.
We were bums, but we scrounged up enough change to go see Rango.
That's
out
the
in
movie you
theaters.
chose to see.
And well, there was really nothing out that we.
Did you
wanted
just
to
let me
see.
ask you this? Did you just buy one ticket and then you let him into the side door?
No. We bought 2 tickets. We were
likely story.
we were decent.
Decent bums.
Yeah, we were decent.
Okay.
And so we went and got tickets to see Rango, and we watched it. And then after we watched it, I was like, "Yeah, I thought that movie was cool." And he was like, "I hated that movie."
Oh, really?
And then we got into a heated debate. Like we rode our bikes to the local park, and we took Gage, and we were just like having a heated debate on like why it was good and why it was bad. And I just like this morning, like I remembered this movie, and I was like, you know what? I haven't seen this movie in a long time. Like I would really like to rehash this discussion again. And so,
Well, it's streaming on Paramount Plus right now, so people can watch along and we can discuss it next week.
Yeah, Paramount Plus. So I can't wait to watch it again.
Cool. Anything else, Tyler?
No, I think that's it. I think that's it. Wait, did Joseph ever even get into the chat at one point?
No, he's busy. He's busy. He has duties outside of this show. It's called the day off, Tyler. Do you expect your boss to call you on your day off and ask you questions about your job?
I guess not. That's a good
point.
point.
Okay, so thank you not only to our cool ass yard duties over on Patreon, that's Javier, listeners Steven, Heather Sachs, Ryan Corbin, and Chris, but thank you also to Jesse from Stab Comedy and Milk, the originator, maybe not the first one to be named after a drink like soda pop, but for producing the show today. And if you ever want to participate in these, it's a fun time in the chat.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a lot of people, sometimes there's little people, but even if you're not chatting anything, just hop in the chat. It's a good fun time to be a part of, and it's every 4th Saturday through Stab Comedy here in Sacramento. Right. Until next time.
Well, thank you, Pete and Tyler.
Oh, what? Hold on. We're almost done.
Ignore me.
There we go. Until next time. Oh, let me restart this guy here. That's all right. We'll edit this part out. And replay. There we go. Okay. Until next time. Thank you for following us along as we review The Outsiders from Tyler. Follow us next week as we review Rango, also from Tyler. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, and follow us on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class, and follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class, and leave us a voicemail, why don't you, at 209-730-6010.
If you're liking the show, please leave us a 5-star review and hop on over to Twitch and subscribe to Stab Comedy as well. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Tyler and Pete. That's been Middle Class Film Class. Go do all the following and subscribing that they mentioned. And that is almost all it is for Stab TV through the coming week, although you can tune in various times to catch Jesse as DJ Clee streaming from Burning Man. But if you're in the Sacramento area, go ahead and come on down to the theater tonight at 9 p.m. for hashtag STFU. As well as tomorrow at 7 p.m. starting with Stab Comedy Presents, which is music. Tomorrow night will be Corey Behringer, and then our open mic at 8:30. If you want to see the full schedule, go to stabcomedytheater.com and have a good weekend.
Thanks, Mel.